Hi guys, welcome back to Thursday Top Lessons. Hope you've liked the video so far. Please do subscribe to our channel. Today we are going to talk about something that I truly really love. Something that was a big part of my life growing up. Yes, football. So today we are going to learn from someone who does something like this at the highest level possible. Yes, Zlatan Ibrahimovic. So we'll discuss what makes Zlatan Zlatan. So what makes this cocky dude who still performs at the highest level at the age of 38? So, an immigrant family, watch out for your own kind of neighborhood, divorced parents, a drunk father, a mom, poor mom who works hard to make ends meet, a drug abusive half sister, and a dramatic family that says things like, I never want to see you again. A perfect plot for a Bollywood movie, isn't it? That was the life of Zlatan Ibrahimovic. We all know Zlatan as that fearless guy. So, no better way to begin this by explaining what is fear. He says, I've always believed there is no fear that leaves a bigger imprint on one's life than the ones we live, not perceive, but live in our childhood. He says that a dark tunnel where his dad was mugged and beaten always surfaced in his memories, and he would run between the lampposts on either side of the tunnel thinking that if I just run fast enough, it'll be alright. So here it goes. So Zlatan is someone who talks like this. Yes, this. And he says things like this. He talks about Muhammad Ali. He says, Ali, what a legend. He did things in his own way. No matter what people said, I imitated some of his things, like I am the greatest. My thing was that I had to both talk the talk and walk the walk. Not just saying I'm greatest, but being great with some swagger. It takes a hell lot of hard work to be there. So, what would Zlatan have done if not become a footballer? He says, maybe a criminal. There was a lot of crime in those days. I've done a lot of things from nicking bikes to shoplifting, but no drugs. I didn't just pour out dad's beer, but also chugged out mom's cigarettes. No to drugs. The message for all the kids out there. Now let's have a look at what brought this personality to Zlatan. He said, I saw the guys from the council estates on the edge of the city like mine. He grew up in Malmo, who would try to pretend to be posh. It never worked. He thought he'll do just the opposite. He'll do his own thing and much more. He says, I was a bit rowdy, sure. Maybe I wasn't an angel, but a special teacher just for me in school? You can't single out kids like that. While playing, I lined up a world class shot and hit her square in the head. That was Zlatan in the making. Another thing he says is that revenge is my fuel. I work much harder to prove myself. And the reason he says this is because he did not receive a farewell in front of the 30,000 people at Malmo FF, his childhood club. He says they just called me to Hassie's office and gave me a crystal ball memento to thank me for the 85 million, his first transfer fees. What were they thinking? I'll take it back to Amsterdam and cry over it when he joined Ajax? No, he kept it on the table and left. He said the feeling was not joy, it was revenge, and that became my fuel. Now let's look at the power of dedicated training and practice. He says, I tried doing the feint with one foot, a cool thing that Ronaldo did a lot, which was one of the things I watched on my computer when I was a junior player and had practiced it for hours and hours until I could do it in my sleep and didn't even need to think in order to pull it out of the bag. This is the power of dedicated training and practice. The second point on dedicated practice and training is He says, I have the dirty looks in training sessions. I had my winner's mindset, all that wild attitude and willpower. I was worse than ever. I went mental if people didn't give the 100% on the pitch. You can't train soft and play aggressive. Training sessions are just as important as the matches. He says, I knew all about Ronaldo. I studied his feints and acceleration. A lot of us did, like I said, but nobody took it as far as I did. I didn't miss even a single detail. Now let's understand his learnings from the football field. He says that a football season is long and you can't put everything on show in a single match. As soon as I arrived, I wanted to do my whole repertoire all at once, and that is why I got stuck, I think. As people say, life is a marathon, it's not a 100-meter sprint. He also says that there is one game on the pitch and another on the transfer market. And I like them both, and I know quite a few tricks because I've learned the hard way. He says that after being made a fool during the first record transfers to Ajax, I'm in complete control. I refuse to be cheated and taken advantage of again. And I always try to be one step ahead in negotiations. I take back from all my matches and training sessions, watching others too. I absorb, I learn all the time. When Bastian, one of the footballing greats, said, don't listen to the coaches. Don't waste your energy defending. You've got to use your strength in attacking. Now you will serve your team's best interest by attacking and scoring goals, not by wearing yourself out defending. Now this is a critical piece of information. You just simply don't go about neglecting your coaches or just going about your own way. It is an important management lesson to try to focus on your team's strength rather than asking everyone to do everything. But it again takes a lot of grind and hard work. Now, this message is for all the guys out there who feel they have that talent and they'll just go about showing it on day one. He says that it was all the wow, have a look at that, check that out, that got me going. But under Fabio Capello, I transformed from an artist to a bruiser who wanted to win at any price. Nobody is going to thank you for your artistry and your back heels if your team loses. Nobody cares if you've scored the dream goal and still don't win. This line just steals it. Here's his take on team management. He says that I'd seen it clearly in football, both at Juventus and at Ajax. Every team performs better when the players are united. At Inter Milan, it was the opposite. The Brazilians sat in one corner, the Argentinians in another, and then the rest of us in middle. Some might say, what does it matter who you're going to eat lunch with? Believe me, it matters. If you don't stick together off the pitch, it shows in your game. Now here's my personal takeaway on materialistic goals from his journey. He said the Ferrari Enzo, only 399 of it ever got produced, and Zlatan got the same at Juventus. He says that the Enzo gave me a feeling that I have to work harder in order to deserve it. It prevents me from becoming complacent, and I can look at it and think, if I don't make the grade, it will be taken away from me. So the car became the driving force, a trigger. In my opinion, it's okay to have materialistic goals, but use it as purely driving goals to make yourself a better version of you. Now let's just take a look at some of his tattoos to get more from his personality. Just try and imagine this personality. The tattoos are only God can judge me, a dragon as a symbol of a warrior, a carp, a fish that swims against the current, a Buddha, a symbol to protect against the suffering. 5 elements: water, earth, fire, air, and wood. And his own family. The men on the right side to showcase strength, and women on the left closer to his heart. Here's his thought on gratitude. On the red foyer on the wall in his house, here's a picture of his 2 dirty feet. He says, my mates asked me, how can you have this shit on your wall? But he said, you idiots, these feet have paid for all this. Here's a lesson on reaching the top, and this is very applicable to all management hierarchies as well. He says, a footballer at my level is like an orange. The club squeezes it until there is no juice left, and then it's time to sell the guys on. It's part of the game. That's the game. They build you up, they knock you down. I was used to it. Now, here's his take on some of the coaches he's worked with. So, first, Mancini. Now, though he'd won the league trophy and the players went up one by one, kind of formal, shook his hands and said, thank you so much, you did it for us. But then Mancini came up to me, completely filled with victory and congratulations. The only thing was, he didn't get a thank you from me. He got the classic Zlatan reply. He got, you're welcome. Now here's his take on Mourinho. He said he created personal ties with all the players using his text messages and emails and his involvement and his knowledge of all our situations with wives and children. And he didn't shout. This guy does his homework. He works hard to get us ready. He built us up before matches. It was like theatre, a psychological game. On Sir Alex Ferguson, he says, no player was bigger to him than the club. He's like God in England. He never wears out his stars, he always rotates them. On Fabio Capello, he says that the stars in Italy don't line up just because the coach says so. That doesn't apply with Fabio Capello. Every single player ties to the line when he shows up. He says, you don't get respect, you take it. Here's his take on Pep Guardiola. He says it was no accident that he had problems with guys like Ronaldinho, Eto'o, Deco, Henry and me. We're no ordinary guys, he says. Maybe it's something as simple as losing his authority. Pep said to him, here at Barca, we keep our feet on the ground and no one drives to the training in a flashy Ferrari or Porsches. Messi, Xavi, Iniesta all stood like schoolboys in front of him. Zlatan simply said, I didn't fit in. This is my personal takeaway from this. As a manager, you have to have the capability of managing strong personalities because they give the edge and the strength to your team. Now to close, this one is actually for all those guys and girls who fill themselves out with an aspiration to grow but do not think they have the adequate resources given on a platter. For anyone who is confident on hard work, this guy shows the way how to do it.